I never believed in fate until I picked up a mysterious hitchhiker on a deserted highway at midnight. And this happened when I was 28. I was driving back home after a long business trip, exhausted and eager to reach my bed. The highway was dark and empty, the kind of empty that makes you feel like you're the last person on earth. Out of nowhere, I saw a figure standing by the side of the road, thumb out, signaling for a ride. It was pouring rain, and the stranger was drenched. Against my better judgment, I slowed down and rolled down the window. The hitchhiker, a woman in her early 20s, looked at me with piercing green eyes and a faint smile. "Thanks for stopping," she said, her voice barely audible over the rain. "I really need to get to the next town." Something about her seemed off, but I couldn't leave her out there in the storm. I unlocked the door and she climbed in, shivering. "I'm Alex," I said, trying to break the ice. "What's your name?" She hesitated for a moment before replying, "Emily." As we drove, Emily told me she was traveling to visit a sick relative. She didn't say much else, and I didn't press her. The rain pounded harder, making it difficult to see the road. Suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Emily pull something out of her bag. My heart raced as I realized it was a knife. "Pull over," she said, her voice calm but commanding. I did as she said, my mind racing with fear and confusion. She took my phone and tossed it out the window, then told me to keep driving. I had no choice but to comply. We drove in silence for what felt like hours, my mind filled with terrifying thoughts of what might happen next. Finally, we reached a small, run-down motel on the outskirts of a forgotten town. Emily instructed me to pull in and park behind the building. She made me get out of the car and walk to one of the motel rooms. Inside, there were two men waiting. My heart sank as I realized I might not make it out of this alive. One of the men, tall and intimidating, looked me up and down. "Is this the guy?" he asked Emily. She nodded. "Yes, this is him. He has the key." The key? I had no idea what they were talking about. Before I could say anything, the man pulled out a small metal box and handed it to me. "Open it," he demanded. With trembling hands, I opened the box to reveal an old, ornate key. "What's this for?" I asked, my voice shaking. Emily stepped forward, her eyes softening. "It's the key to a safe deposit box in the bank down the street. Inside that box is something very valuable, something that was stolen from us. We need you to get it back." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They had mistaken me for someone else, someone who had access to this key. I tried to explain, but they didn't want to hear it. They were desperate and out of options. I had no choice but to go along with their plan. The next morning, I walked into the bank with Emily by my side. She had given me a new set of clothes and instructions on what to say. My heart pounded as I approached the teller and asked to access the safe deposit box. To my shock, the teller handed me the box without question. Back in the motel room, I opened the box to reveal stacks of cash and a small, leather-bound journal. Emily and the men looked relieved, but I was still terrified. "What now?" I asked. Emily smiled for the first time since I had met her. "Now you're free to go. Thank you for your help." I couldn't believe it was over. I grabbed my car keys and left the motel without looking back. As I drove away, I realized I had just experienced the most terrifying night of my life, but I had also helped return something valuable to people who desperately needed it. To this day, I still don't know the full story behind that key and the journal, but I do know that I'll never forget the mysterious hitchhiker who changed my life forever.